Tonight, let me ask you a hard question. If a family needs a sacrifice to stay intact, who do they choose? And why is it so often you? You did not become the black sheep by accident. In narcissistic families, the role is assigned with eerie precision. It feels personal and chaotic, yet beneath the chaos, there is a pattern, almost a ritual. Today, we will read that pattern like a map. We will name the hidden forces that singled you out, and we will show how to step out of the role without abandoning your soul. And if the story you were given says you were the problem, stay with me. There is an older story here, and it is finally yours. You will hear ideas that sound mythic because your experience has always been larger than facts. The insult was never just a comment, it was a verdict. The silence was never just distance, it was banishment. And yet there is meaning in the banishment. What if being chosen as the black sheep was also the first summons to become fully yourself? We will descend through shadow, projection, envy, splitting, and the economy of narcissistic supply. We will consider the wounded healer, the scapegoat, and the trickster forces that reveal the truth by breaking the script. We will not settle for slogans. We will go deep, and then we will come back up with language you can actually use. Consider first the system itself. A narcissistic family moves like a court. There is a monarch who must be admired, an enabler who keeps the rituals, a golden child who mirrors magnificence, a flying messenger who carries gossip and threat, a lost child who disappears, and you, the scapegoat, who absorbs the costs. This is not random casting. The scapegoat is selected because you disrupt the trance. You notice what is not said. You feel what others refuse to feel. You insist on reality when the group needs a pleasing illusion. If the court runs on adoration and denial, then you, by virtue of conscience, sensitivity, and an inconvenient talent for clarity, become the dangerous one. Why you, specifically? 3 ancient signals often mark you from early on. First, conscience. You cannot collude with small cruelties. Second, sensitivity. You register mood, tone, and contradiction like weather across your skin. Third, individuation. A stubborn inner current moves you toward a life that is unmistakably yours. To the narcissistic system, these look like disloyalty. Conscience exposes hypocrisy. Sensitivity reveals the draft under the locked door, and individuation refuses to be an echo. Your very presence asks the forbidden question, what is true here? The family needs a mirror that flatters. You offer a mirror that reveals. That is when the selection begins. Let us speak about projection, the dark engine of selection. When the narcissistic parent cannot carry their shame, it must find a host. It is foisted onto the child, most likely to metabolize the poison. You become the container for what the parent cannot integrate. Fear of weakness, fear of dependence, fear of failure. Splitting completes the spell. One child is made all good and another all bad. So the monarch's inner world stays simplistic and grand. The family's homeostasis, its brittle balance, requires this division. The golden child carries the fantasy of perfection. The scapegoat carries the sin the monarch refuses to acknowledge. This is not a story about fairness. It is a story about function. I recall a woman who came to me exhausted, bright and wary. Her mother had charisma in public and contempt in private. As a girl, she asked too many why questions, soothed her younger siblings, and wrote poems that unsettled dinner. The label arrived early, difficult. When she excelled at school, the narrative flipped, arrogant. When she went quiet, it flipped again, ungrateful. The contradictions were not mistakes. They were management. If difficult didn't silence her, arrogant might. If arrogant didn't work, ungrateful could be tried. The point was never accuracy. The point was control. She was appointed to carry the feelings her parent could not bear and to distract the family from the parent's unaddressed emptiness. You may recognize softer markers that started even earlier. Perhaps you resembled the disfavored parent in face or temperament. Perhaps you bonded with a grandparent whose kindness exposed the house's chill. Perhaps as a child, you comforted a crying pet under the table while adults performed normal. These tiny fidelities to truth are not forgotten by a system that survives on denial. And so the unwritten contract forms. The golden child will protect the story, and you will carry the conflict the story denies. The price of belonging is to betray your perception. Your refusal to pay that price, whether loud or quiet, becomes the reason you are chosen. The system calls it rebellion. A deeper language calls it integrity. Why is the scapegoat indispensable? Because the group needs a living drain for its unprocessed effect. Shame must flow somewhere. Doubt must have a face. Rage needs a legal target. When the monarch trembles, the scapegoat steadies the house by accepting blame. On special days, tension spikes. The ritual repeats. A look, a comment, a missing chair. Soon your breath is on trial. If you defend yourself, you prove their point. If you fall silent, they name it coldness. The ritual works because you care. Your caring keeps you in the circle long enough to be accused again. That is the cruel geometry. The person most able to restore sanity is framed as the source of the storm. Another layer. Envy. Your capacity for intimacy, your friends, your subtlety with children, your creativity. These are riches a narcissistic system cannot generate from within. It covets them while despising you for having them. Envy longs to injure what it admires, so the system both steals and punishes. Your ideas are adopted without attribution. Then you are accused of attention-seeking. Your boundaries are framed as abandonment, yet your compliance is expected without gratitude. This double bind is not accidental. It is how the system feeds. If you shine, you must be dimmed. If you dim, you must be mocked. The goal is not your growth, but your containment. Now we descend further into the old story beneath the family story. Long before your first memory, cultures used scapegoats to cleanse the village. One creature was sent into the wilderness bearing the community's sins. In the narcissistic household, this ritual continues in secret. It is not goats now, but sensitive children. When your presence revealed the hidden rot, your body was nominated to carry it out of sight. The darkest lie you were told is that this nomination proved your unworthiness. The truer statement is harder and finer. You were elected because you could carry the charge without becoming what was projected onto you. You did not collapse into the accusation. You survived it, and that survival is a sign. A dream image returns to many who carry this role, a narrow bridge across dark water. On one side, a bright house with laughter that sounds slightly metallic. On the other, a forest with moving air. You hesitate. Someone from the house calls your name with honey in their voice. Then you notice your own name stitched to a small bundle in your hands. Inside the bundle are objects that belong to you. A sketchbook, a compass, a key. You cross. The bridge creaks but holds. The dream gives instruction. Take what is yours and go where the air moves. The house will not collapse when you leave. It will only reveal its actual weight. There are, of course, moments when the role intensifies. Adolescence, when you begin to say no. Early professional success, when your competence exposes parental fragility. Choosing a partner who sees through the family theater. Becoming a parent yourself and refusing to repeat what harmed you. Each threshold invites escalation. Expect smear campaigns. She is unstable. He is cold. They imagine things. Expect sudden love bombing when you pull away. Expect strange silence when you thrive elsewhere. These responses are not proof you are wrong. They are proof the ritual is being threatened. Systems do not surrender their scapegoats easily. They double down before they dissolve. What then do you do? Here we must be both precise and compassionate. The work is to end your usefulness to the ritual without ending your capacity to love. You do not need to convince the court. You need to withdraw your labor from the ritual. For simple sentences become your daily prayer. First, I will not carry what is not mine. Second, I will name the pattern without seeking permission. Third, I will set the distance my soul can sustain. Fourth, I will build a circle where truth does not cost me belonging. These are not metaphors. They are the architecture of a new life. Let these sentences become actions. Reduce access, not compassion. Switch from defense to description. When I am blamed for the mood, I leave the room. Refuse debates about your character. Discuss only behavior and consequences. Use short, steady language. I am not available for that. That story is inaccurate. I won't discuss this by phone. Document everything that matters. Dates, messages, agreements, so you do not have to borrow your memory from those who edit reality. Choose a single confidant or two rather than a crowd. Your truth grows better in a small garden. If you choose low contact, schedule it. If you choose no contact, keep it clean and quiet. You will feel guilt. Of course you will. Guilt is the proof that you took your role seriously. But notice the shape of this guilt. It appears when you protect your time, not when they injure your dignity. That is not moral guilt. That is conditioning. Sit with it as you would sit with a frightened child, kindly, firmly, without negotiation. You will also feel grief for the family you did not have. Let grief have a chair at your table. Grief is not a step backward. It is the clean river that washes the soot of the ritual from your skin. As grief moves, clarity follows, now inward into alchemy. The first stage is nigredo, the blackening, when everything falls apart and the night refuses you sleep. This is the season when you notice you were living in a story that could only survive if you were wrong about yourself. Stay with the dark. The second stage, albedo, is the whitening. Clarity, clean language, first boundaries. The third, citrinitas, is the yellowing. Dawn light, slow confidence, a life shaped by value rather than verdict. The final rubedo is the reddening, embodiment, warmth, the return of color. You emerge not spotless but integrated. The soot becomes ink. The wound becomes wisdom, a clinical vignette because the mind asks for proof. A client in her 40s, thoughtful, professional, a mother. For years, she played the lightning rod. When she declined a holiday visit to protect her child from chaos, the storm arrived. Messages accusing her of cruelty, relatives phoning for both sides. The old names unboxed and thrown. She wanted to explain. Instead, she chose description. I will not discuss this while I'm being insulted. I'm available next Tuesday at noon for a 10-minute call about logistics. Then she stopped engaging. The weather changed, not because the system became kind, but because she stopped volunteering as its conductor. We must also speak about the golden child, because comparison steals courage. The golden child is not favored. They are drafted. Their shine is polished daily because it reflects the monarch. Feel compassion without stepping back into the ritual. You cannot rescue someone who is rewarded for their compliance. You can, however, demonstrate that love survives truth by living a steady, grounded life beyond the court. Sometimes, years later, the golden child knocks on your door with trembling hands. You will not say, I told you so. You will say, welcome, and you will not return to the house. What about forgiveness? Forgiveness without accountability is simply amnesia with a halo. You are not required to erase history to become whole. The psyche does not heal by pretending it was never wounded. It heals by becoming strong enough to tell the story without shaking. If you choose contact again, let it be because your center is sturdy, not because your hope is starving. If you choose distance, let it be clean. No secret monitoring, no watching through windows of other people's updates. Freedom is not the opposite of love. Freedom is love given honest space. Now a word to the child inside you who still wants one moment where they finally understand. That fantasy kept you alive once. Honor it, then bless it and set it down. The apology you seek is unlikely. The recognition you deserve may never arrive from that house. But you will not be untold. You can know what happened and what it did, and who you are now because of it. You can stop offering yourself as the weather vane every time a storm rolls in. You can build a life where your goodness is not used as infrastructure. We arrive at the final descent, not into despair, but into truth. You were not rejected because you were small. You were rejected because something in you refused to be used. That refusal is not bitterness. It is sacred instinct. Your nervous system learned to hear footsteps. Now it will learn to hear birds. Your jaw learned to lock. Now it will learn to sing. Your heart learned to scan the room. Now it will learn to live there. Stand here with me and say it without ornament. I will not be the scapegoat anymore. I will not star in the family's old play. I will not trade my clarity for belonging, nor my boundaries for a seat at a table that demands my silence. I will belong elsewhere, with people who don't need a villain to feel united, with friends who can say, I was wrong, with children who learn that love can apologize and still be love. When you were accused of causing the pain, you were often the one naming the wound. When you were told you ruined the gathering, you were the one telling the truth of the room. When you were exiled, you were being moved to the edge where the forest begins. The edge is where all real journeys start. From there, paths open that never existed inside the walls. From there, mentors appear, not to save you, but to mirror you back to yourself until you recognize your own face. If no one has ever said it to you, let it be said now. You were not the family's problem. You were the family's unspoken conscience. You were not the weakest link. You were the strongest nerve. You were not chosen because you were defective. You were chosen because you held the line the system could not tolerate, the line of reality, tenderness, and refusal to pretend. So walk forward. Keep your sentences short. Keep your door guarded by discernment and your table open to those who show up without a mask. Keep a small bundle with your name on it, your sketchbook, your compass, your key. And when you hear the honeyed voice from the bright house calling you to reprise your role, place a hand on your heart and remember, the bridge creaks, but it holds. You have crossed it before. You will cross it again as often as needed. Finally, bless what formed you without romanticizing what harmed you. Bless the part that kept hope alive when it had no evidence. Bless the solitude that trained your eyes to see. Bless the stubborn spark that refused to go out. Then give your life to what is yours. Work that aligns with your values, friendships that do not require amnesia, love that honors the person you have fought to become. Let the old ritual dissolve without audience. Let the new story be quiet and durable. And let your presence be a steady flame for those who are still shivering at the edge of the bright house, unsure if the bridge will hold for them. It will. It does when we honor reality, when we refuse the costume, when we choose the forest and the moving air. One last truth before we close. Your healing does not depend on them acknowledging anything. It begins the moment you acknowledge yourself as real. You are not a thesis to be debated. You are a life to be lived. Keep faith with your inner witness. Keep company with those who keep faith with you. Let what is false fall away by its own weight. And if doubt returns at midnight, breathe and whisper, I am no longer available for sacrifice. I am available for life, here, now, fully.